How to create a great looking IvyGen in Blender 2.8. In this video, we'll generate the IvyGen plant with the help of the IvyGen generator add-on in Blender. Then we'll apply some preset particle systems to make this IvyGen look beautiful and realistic. If you know how to use IvyGen generator, you can skip to the second chapter. Let's start. Go to add-ons and switch on the IvyGen add-on and also switch on BlenderKit add-on. We'll need both of these. Then go to 3D view. I have prepared scene here where I can play around. You can start with just a simple cube or any other scene where you need this IvyGen. We define the starting point of the IvyGen with the cursor, so I switch to the cursor tool and click where the roots of the plant will be. Then I have to select the object that the IvyGen should climb on. Notice that this building is split in several parts. I'll select all of these, duplicate them and join them. This new object I renamed to IvyGen Collider, just for good organization of the scene. This is because the IvyGen needs a single object that it will climb on. Then I go to IvyGen generator panel, which is on the right side of the 3D view, in Create category. I start right away by clicking on Add New IvyGen. Now, don't do any extra selections or operations in the 3D view, because this way we can click on the Update IvyGen here in lower left corner if we tweak the parameters. If this happens that you select something by accident and the Update IvyGen button disappears, you can delete your IvyGen and start a new one. The parameters are quite straightforward. And the most important thing to remember is, if you increase IvyGen length, then you should decrease branching probability. Otherwise, the plant will become huge because it will have far too many branches. It's exponential, literally. IvyGen size parameter actually should be named detail size because it lowers the number of segments that are created. And if you increase this value, you can again increase branching probability. If you want your scene full of IvyGen, consider increasing the size because it saves you some polygons. Weights have big influence on the shape. Primary weight makes the IvyGen grow up. Random weight adds randomness. Gravity pulls the branches down, while adhesion makes the IvyGen stick more or less to the surface. I'll reset all the weights to default values. We have a great shape, but nothing that would render nicely. This is where BlenderKit comes in as a handy tool. First, we can go to Materials and search for IvyGen. Select the IvyGen stem and click on the material. This is because BlenderKit can't drag and drop objects on curves by now. Let's try to render it. This is by now a simple procedural shader designed specially for the IvyGen stem. It's quite thin, so what we need from it is a decent color. Then I go to Objects and search for IvyGen. You should find at least one free IvyGen that looks like this. Switch BlenderKit to appending mode and drag drop this preset into scene. If you accidentally drag drop the preset as linked, just hit Bring to Scene. You can see the preset is just a plane, but with leaves on it. This is a particle preset that we will transfer to the leaves object. Select the leaves object and go to Particles. Here we add a new system, but immediately link in the IvyGen system. Now we can actually delete the original object with the particles. Let's go to Edit mode, where you can see how many faces are in the leaves system. Set the same number of leaves on the particle system. The particle system needs uncheck render emitter in render settings. It's a bug in Blender 2.8 that it still renders the emitter in the viewport, but it won't render in the final Cycles render. You can fix it by assigning transparent shader to the emitter object. For EEVEE, go to Object Properties and in Viewport Display set the leaves to show as bounding box only. Now we see that the ivy already looks much better with all the new leaves around, but we need to make one important last step that is not very intuitive. Go to UV editing. Select everything in the UV editor and run UVs, average island scale, and then UVs, pack islands. This will probably take a long time. This actually sorts the leaves by their size, and the preset can use this to also generate correct size of leaves, so the ends have smaller and younger, fresher looking leaves. The material actually tries to simulate the age of the leaves and does so from a gradient texture that is mapped to these UVs. You can see we can get a decent render just in a minute. That's it. If you liked what you watched, subscribe and see you in our next video.